giving back, so we thought about, okay, so how can we connect to young people like you guys? How can we really connect with you so that our message carries on after we leave the room? And so one of the things that we thought about was that, okay, young people nowadays, just like when we were young, we care about what we look like, right? We like to have nice clothes. We like to present ourselves in a certain way, right? And so we thought about that, and we said, okay, wait, so we can take fashion, and use it as a tool so that we can reach you guys, because whether you know it or not, the clothes that you wear, they tell the world something about you. Your clothes tell me about your mood that day. If it has words on it, it tells me, something, whatever the branding is on the product. So in a lot of cases, you don't have any control over that. You just pick it up, you wear it. You may not even understand what the words mean. It might not even be in English. So you're not in control of what you're saying. So we said, okay, let's take that and let's design some products that have positive messages, that talk about some things that are, near and dear to us, which is science. We both have a science background. So as you can see, I'm wearing a product that says science. So now, ideally, you guys would be wearing this product, because when you read this, even though these words are descriptors of what science represents, these words also represent how you need to go about carrying out your business in life. You have to be controlled and accurate and deliberate about how you're gonna plan out your life and your career paths and laying out your goals and putting steps in place to get to where you're trying to go. So if you think about it, these words are metaphors for life, and everything that we put out, even though it's heavily science oriented, it also has applications just for how we go about living our lives. So, that's one of the things that we want to do for you guys, and just for young people all over the place, but specifically for you guys here in Albany. This is our hometown, this is our school, this is our school, and we love it. We love all the wonderful people that work here, and we have a place in our heart for all the students that attend here. So we want to see you guys be successful and win. And so, but we also realize that in order for you to do that, you have to see people that look like you standing up in a position like this, telling you you can be a toxicologist. Some of y'all might not even know what toxicology is, but that's an area of science, and that's what I have. I have 2 degrees in toxicology, so that's an option for you. He's got a master's in biotechnology. He's got an MBA. That's an option for you. We have other friends from this school that have law degrees, that have MDs, that have all sorts of different things going on, engineers. And so they all came from here. They're part of your family as well. So we want you to do good things as well. We want you to win and be successful and live the life that you want to live. Because I know at the end of the day, for a lot of us, it's about dollars and cents, right? We want to make money, we want to buy stuff, we want to do stuff. Like I said, I was living in a 2-bedroom apartment with 5 people sleeping on a sofa. Now, at this point in my life, I can buy whatever I want to buy. I can live wherever I want to live. I can switch my cars out whenever I feel like it. And so, not to glorify materialism, but that's just to let you know that you can, if that's your motivation, or if that's a part of your motivation, you can get to that goal by applying yourself now. You got to do that work now. You can't get there without the work. You cannot take the work out of it. There's no way around it. I know we watch YouTube and we see all these videos of people doing stuff, and it seems like they're just instant celebrities overnight. They've got channels. They're just, doing a lot of things. That might happen for one person out of a million. So that can't be your goal. That can't be your plan. That's not a plan. So you got to put some plans in place. Think about what you want to do. You guys are 11th grade, 10th grade, 12th grade, maybe. Now's the time to start thinking about it. And so we want to be able to kind of, motivate you guys, inspire you guys, and we want to hear stories about you in 5 years from now, 6, 7, 8 years from now. You're doing this thing, you're doing that thing. You're giving back. You're reaching your goals, but then also we want you to come back and do this right here. We gotta start something where everybody is going out, educating themselves, learning things, and bringing it back home. And we can build our community back up, because we've got some problems in our community right now. And we're gonna have to fix that. You know, it's not like it used to be, not that it was very, very different, but still, let's continue to try to move our community forward by working together. You know, so that's really what my message is for you guys. Hard work. That's it. You can't get around the work. And from what I hear, you guys are putting in that work, so I appreciate that. I applaud you guys for that. So at this point, you know, if you guys want to engage with us, have some questions, anything, no matter how basic or how advanced your question might be, just talk to us. We want to dialogue with you guys and see where you're at, and see what you need, and see what we can do to help.
Anybody have any questions?
We got one over there.
Okay, here we go. It's all panel of, okay.
What was the question?
What is our family, y'all, from graduated high school?
Okay, who would you like to answer that? Both of us? Okay. Well, I'll take the first shot at it. When I graduated from high school, my plan was, first of all, I knew I had to go to college. That was not an option. In my household, same like Dr. Williams, I grew up in a single parent family, single mother, with two younger sisters. And education was very important in my household. Not only was education important, that was the tool that my mother instilled in me that was going to be able to ensure that I would have a successful future. And being the oldest son in the house, I had to set an example. I had to be that positive role model for my two younger sisters. And Mrs. Carr remembered, Mrs. Griffith remembered, I was also an athlete. I was a starting point guard here for Monroe High School in 1995. And so I'm pretty good. But I couldn't go to practice. I couldn't play the games unless my mom checked my work and made sure that my grades were up to par. And not to say that this has to be everyone's path, but my mom didn't settle for anything less than an 8. So I had to make all A's in order to play ball. Guess what? I love ball. That was my heart. That was my dream. And I was a starting point guard, but if I came home with a B, I wouldn't be able to play. So my plan was definitely keep the grades up, do what I need to do, respect, and figure out what do I want to do with my life in the future. And what I knew what I wanted to do is help others. And one thing that I knew what would help me to get to that point is that I enjoyed science. We used to call ourselves cool nerds. Like, we went to the parties, we hung out, we went to the games. Like I said, I was an athlete, but at the same time, we knew we had to handle our business, and we did our work, and education was above everything else. So I was thinking about I wanted to go to medical school, and I wanted to be a doctor. And so in order to do that, I knew I had to go to college. I had to major in a science-related field, so I majored in biology and chemistry, right at Albany State University. And at that point, at the time, we had some very tough teachers at Monroe that stayed on our behinds. And I loved them for it. I loved them for it because guess what? They prepared us for what was to come in college. College was not easy. College was not a cakewalk. And you guys probably don't know these teachers, but teachers like Mrs. Daniels, Mrs. Livingston, Mrs. Collier, they did not allow us to settle. They did not allow us to waste our potential. And I thank them for it to this day, because what they instilled in us is the importance of hard work and not settling for less. So I went to college, graduated from Albany State, and I had professors there that also helped guide me, helped mentor me, and helped me on the path that I wanted to go. And that's when I developed and moved to Washington, D.C. I did a 2-year fellowship at the National Institute of Health, which is the largest healthcare organization in the United States. I did a 2-year fellowship. I worked in the neuroscience program. I wanted to be a brain surgeon. And I did the fellowship for 2 years. And I discovered that during that 2 years, being a doctor wasn't what it was all cut out to be. Yeah, you get the title of MD. Yeah, you get the glory of being a surgeon. Yeah, you get paid a lot of money. Yeah, you get a lot of respect and clout. But one thing I noticed when I was doing my 2-year fellowship in Washington, D.C., everybody that I worked with that was a neurosurgeon, they wasn't happy. They were miserable. And I noticed that. And I thank God that I noticed that at an early point in my life, because going to medical school, that's 4 years of medical school, 4 years of residency, and then you still have to work under a neurosurgeon for at least 2 to 3 years before you're actually practicing medicine. So investing all that time, all that energy, all that money for a career that people are not even happy with. So my plan got blown up. I was like, wow, I'm not gonna be MD, so what am I gonna do? So then I had to come up with a backup plan. My backup plan, well, I still enjoy science. I still wanna help others in need. So that's when I had to do more research and figure out what else can I do with the degrees that I have, with the experience that I have. So then that's when I learned research. There's a lot of opportunity in research. So I started working at Children's Hospital in Washington, D.C. as a researcher. Then I became, I went to graduate school, and then I obtained my master's and my MBA, and I went to corporate America with a science background, because guess what? They need people that understand business, but also understand the science behind the business in the biopharmaceutical industry. So it made me a double threat. And that's what it's all about. Have a plan. And sometimes your initial plan may not go the way you want it to go, but that's fine. You don't let that stop you, because there's gonna be plenty of nights and plenty of days where people are gonna shut doors in your face, tell you no, tell you you're not capable, you're not worthy, but you don't let that stop you. If it's something that you have in your heart, something that you want to do, and that's your passion, don't let anybody stop you. Only you can stop you. And sometimes you have to fall back on the backup plan. And sometimes you have to fall on another backup plan. But guess what? You keep moving forward. And every little step that you take, it might be a small step, but guess what? It's a step forward in the right direction. And you just keep putting one foot in front of the other until you reach the goal that you had set for yourself.
And you know, just like you said, one of the things that your plan might change, your path might change, you know, and we have to not be discouraged by that, because the only thing that is consistent in that story is the hard work. So as long as you're working hard and you can consistently work hard, you're gonna be okay, you know? Just like him, just like we were in school together, so we both went to Albany State together. We said, okay, we're gonna get biology degrees, we're gonna go to medical school, we're gonna get MDs, we're gonna be doctors, we're gonna cure cancer, we're gonna do all this stuff. We said that. And so when we got to answer your question, so when I was here, when we were getting ready to graduate, that was the plan. By the time we got to the end, you know, I didn't know that in the 9th grade. I mean, and just to be honest with y'all, I didn't have it all the way together like he did. You know, he said he came from a background where education was important in his house, and he had his grandmother, he had his family to support him, A's was all that was acceptable. I didn't necessarily have it like that. I was young as a 5, my mom was a single parent, she was working. Most of the time I was at home with my siblings. So it really wasn't a lot of people telling me, do this, do that. So some of y'all can relate to that. And so it took me a little bit longer to figure it out and get it together, you know. But when I got here in the 9th grade, I wasn't focused. And I'm gonna tell y'all that because if you feel like you're not focused, that's not the end of the world. I don't want you to feel like you just gotta have it all together and all figured out. I wasn't focused in 10th grade. By the time I got to the 10th grade, you know, things started coming around. I started paying attention a little bit more, you know, a little bit more. He'll tell you that. Like out of our crew, I was the one that was like that. He's a little bit, you know, he might go either way. That was, you know, they were focused. They helped me out a lot, actually. They brought me back, you know, because, you know, growing up on the South Side is tough. A lot of things happen. And so, so by the time I got to the 10th grade, some things happened. You know, we're family, right? We talk. I'm gonna be real honest with y'all because I feel like we have to do that. Because I know there's a lot of stuff going on. Y'all are young people, but y'all have seen a lot of things happen. So when I was in the 10th grade, I had a group of friends that were my neighborhood friends. Not my school friends, my neighborhood friends. So some of my neighborhood friends were older than me. So they said to me, we're going on a trip in 2 weeks. We're going to Miami. So I said, okay. At that time, I'd never been to Miami. I was like, I want to see what Miami is like. I'm like 15 or 16 or whatever. And so I said, okay, I'm going to Miami. So as we got closer to the date for that trip, something came up in school. I can't really remember. It was some sort of project. So I told those guys I can't go. I got something I need to do here. So I stayed. It's the 10th grade. I stayed here. Those guys went to Miami, and when they were coming back from Miami, they got pulled over. They got arrested. What I didn't realize at the time was those guys were going to Miami to buy drugs. So all those guys went to jail. Now think about it. If I was in that car, I would have been in jail at that time. I wouldn't be standing here talking to you. So that's what I call divine intervention. You know, God orchestrated that for me not to be there because He had a different path for me. And so after that, it made me think about my life a little bit more, a little bit differently. And so then 10th grade on, I started hanging around people like this every day. You know, people who had it together, people who were looking to do positive things in life. I went ahead and I finished in the top 10% of the class here. We went to Albany State on full scholarships. We got our bachelor's degrees. We had some professors who introduced us to some other things other than medicine in terms of our science career options. So I went to the University of Georgia, got a master's degree in toxicology, got a PhD in toxicology. Went off, I've been working in the field since 2006. I've worked in the healthcare industry, I've worked in food and beverage industry. Now I'm working in an industry now that's biotech, pharma, specialty chemistries and things like that. So toxicology, just to kind of let y'all know a little bit about it, it's what they call an interdisciplinary field. So in order for you to get a degree in toxicology, you've got to learn chemistry, anatomy, physiology, biology. All the areas of science come together to give you toxicology. So you got to kind of understand all of it. So it's a little bit challenging, but it's also exciting. If you're really into science, that's a way for you to kind of touch on a lot of different things and bring all that together. You can apply that in a lot of different ways. So I can work in pretty much in any industry. I can apply toxicology anywhere, whether it be a food product, whether it be a medical product, whether it be a chemical that you put in your pool to keep it clean. All that's toxicology, all that's science. Science, you deal with science every day. When you crack an egg into a skillet and you apply heat, that's science. And you end up with the egg that you eat. That's science every day. So we use science every day. So one of the taglines for our products is the science of everyday life, because there's science in life all the time. And then also the decision-making process that we have to go through to determine what we're gonna do in life, there's a scientific method to that too. You guys apply that every day. You might not think about it as science, but it is. So we're all using science all the time. So that's what we do. So here we are now, and so I'm hoping that answered your question. Sorry, I kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent, but okay, all right.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Like, did y'all ever just feel like y'all wanted to give up one time, and then when like just want to drop out or something? Have it out at that point?
We being real, right?
Mm-hmm.
It happens so many times I can't even count. Because just to be honest and real with you, being a science major, it's not easy. The course load, the professors, the labs that you have to go to, the research that you have to do, the papers you have to write, the exams that you have to take, they're not easy. And I mean, you have to study. And a lot of people, when they're in college, you know, that's when they're there to quote unquote find themselves, to explore, to figure out what they want to do. But if you're a science major going into your freshman year, basically you got to hit the ground running. And it's very challenging. Just to put it politically, it's very challenging. And there's been countless nights where you're up studying 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. You're tired. Everybody else is out to the parties, you know, hanging out with their friends. But we're at each other's house, or we're in the library, or we're in the labs, studying, studying anatomy, studying genetics, studying biochemistry, because this is information that you have to know. You can't go in and guess your way through it. And it makes you feel like, man, sometimes it was like an overload. But the key is you can't give up. Even if you feel like it, even if you feel like, you know what, it's not worth it. I'm wasting my time. I can do something else. I can major in basket weaving, or I can go to the parties and have fun. Yeah, you can do that, but when you graduate, what are you going to really be able to do? How are you going to be able to contribute? And how are you going to have a career, a sustainable career that's going to be able to help you provide for yourself and hopefully for your future, your family in the future. But when you get to those times where you want to quit, to where you want to feel like I want to give up and it's just not worth it. I was fortunate that we had a very tight crew. We didn't let each other give up. When I was down, he was there to help pick me up. And when he was down, I was there to do the same. And I also had my fraternity brothers as well. So we had a network, and that's very important. You can't do it by yourself. No man is an island, no man stands alone. But what you have to do, if you have to surround yourself with like-minded people that want to have a positive future, that wants to do something great with their lives, that's willing to put in the work, that's willing to make the sacrifices to make it happen. You surround yourself with people like that. So when you have those times when you feel like, I want to give up, they won't allow you to. Because you have that support system. You have that network of friends. And it not only, it's not just your friends, but it becomes family. Like, he's not my friend, he's not my best friend. This is my brother. We just don't have the same parents. That's how tight and that's how real it is. Because no matter what, we was always there for each other. In the tough times, in the trenches. And when you have that support system and that network, you don't have to give up. Because you can lean on somebody and they'll help carry you. And then when the opportunity presents itself, you do the same for them. So it's a team effort. But if you surround yourself with friends and individuals that don't have that same vision, that don't have that same goal and same drive, then at the end of the day, they're gonna be a distraction. They're gonna get you off your game because they're gonna be putting things in your ear and in your mind that's gonna take you away from what you really want to do. And when you're surrounded by people like that, you gotta recognize it and know it early, because once you get off track and off that path, it's very difficult to get back on. Not saying that you can't, but it's very difficult. So surround yourself with positive, like-minded people, and you will have that network and that support system that you don't have to feel like I'm all in it by myself, I can't do it. And you help lift each other up. And this is something that we say together. We're lifting as we climb. So as you lift, as you climb, you're pulling someone else up with you. And they're doing the same. And they're doing the same. So it's a chain reaction. And if you keep that same mentality, then the sky's the limit. There's nothing that you can't do, there's nothing that you can't accomplish. And you're feeding off each other with positive energy, not negative energy. Because it's easy to say, oh, this is too hard, I can't do it, I'm gonna quit. That's the easy out. But if you really want something and it's really, really important to you and you're passionate about it, you're gonna fight for it. You have to be willing to fight.
You know, he touched on something good, and I'm glad he said that about having a network of people that are like-minded, because I realized that when I told y'all that story, that Miami trip story, I didn't flesh that out enough. I kind of moved on, but really what I was trying to say was that, just like he said, I realized that I was hanging around the wrong people. So I removed myself from that situation and started hanging with people like this more, people who are more positive. So if you guys you have your friends, whether it be school friends or friends that are, just in your community, in your neighborhood, recognize who you're hanging around, because most of the time, the people that you hang around, that's who you are. You're eventually gonna either do what they do or you're not gonna do what they do, and it's gonna cause a problem. So think about what you wanna do. Come to a conclusion in your own mind that I wanna do this. I wanna go down this path, and then surround yourself with people who feel the same way. And then you're gonna be fine. Because otherwise, you can allow other people to bring you down. You want people to lift, as like he said, you're pulling somebody up as you're going up. So either you're the one pulling or somebody is pulling you, but you don't want to be going the other way. You don't want to be going down. So recognize that early and separate yourself. It may be hard. You may have some people that you're close to, but if they're doing the wrong things and bringing you down and putting you in negative situations where you can lose your life or you lose your freedom or lose your livelihood, you gotta move on. So, but in terms of feeling like you wanna quit, I mean, that happens often. I think for most people that happens often, but it's really what you do with that. That's really what separates you from being successful, or determines whether you're gonna be successful or not. Because when you find yourself in that space where it's difficult, because it's gonna be challenging. I mean, it's challenging. But when you make a decision that I'm gonna continue to work hard and continue to move forward, and that's gonna continue to kind of sustain you. And plus, again, you gotta keep looking at where you wanna be. So if you keep your eyes on your goal, that's gonna motivate you too. Like where I was living and where my situation was not an option for me. I can't live like this as a grown person. I'm not gonna do that. So I'm not gonna just allow myself to quit and find myself sitting in that same seat every day. You can't do that. And so with that mentality within yourself, plus your friends that are with you, encouraging you, I think that helps you to kind of continue to move forward. And just real quickly, when we first started at Albany State, and by the way, Ms. Kay was there with us. She went to Albany State with us, actually. So we've been knowing her for a long time. And so when we first got to Albany State, when I was registering for my first semester of classes, I don't know what I was thinking. I picked all classes. I don't know, this may not make sense to you guys, but I picked classes that were all major classes. You can pick electives, and you can have a PE class or whatever. Some of those types of classes that are not that difficult. You're doing some stunts and tumbling and all that kind of stuff. So, but I picked all major classes, and so I took those classes, and it was very hard. And I made all B's in all of my classes my first semester. So that means my GPA was a 3.0 from day one. And that was devastating for me. I didn't want a 3.0. I wanted a 4.0. But what I realized was that I gotta take control of my own career, my own life, and think about what I'm doing. But that day I thought about quitting. I was like, man, I got a 3.0. I'm one C away from losing my scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, no, this is my dream. I got these people around me. I'm gonna buckle down. It took me a long time, because to go from a 3.0 to a 4.0, it's hard. You can always go down, it's easy to go down, but to go the other way, it's so hard. By the time I graduated, I still had like, I think I eventually got back to like about a 3.8. But it took me the whole time to get there. And I'm making A's, I'm just doing everything. It took me forever to get back to that level that I wanted to. And I still didn't get to where I really wanted to be, but I didn't quit though. So it's gonna happen. It happens all the time. Just keep working though, keep fighting.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What was your decision about drug use, even recreational drugs like weed? How did you?
Opioid field trip. Now we just talking about drug education.
We're talking about recreational because this generation, some of them don't see the harm in things like weed. So I want to talk about that, and if you could share.
I've always taken the first question. You want to start first?
Okay, so plain and simple, we all understand that drugs, whether it be marijuana or something harder, more, something else, it has an impact on you, right? It impacts you physically in the moment. Marijuana makes you slow, sluggish, you get hungry, you get tired. You understand that? So if you're at school and you're here to get an education, you can understand how that will kind of interfere with that process, right? So that's one thing. It's going to impact you negatively in the classroom, but then ultimately it's going to impact you negatively in your life outside of school as well. Because I know, I have friends who were, casual marijuana smokers, casual drinkers, and all this stuff. I'm not saying I've never had a drink in my life, but I'm just saying that at this particular point in your life, if you're an adult person, that's different, but at this point in your life, these things this is a critical time where you really need to focus on just trying to set your foundation for where you want your life to go. So anything like drugs or alcohol, all those things knock you off your path. All those things put you in a position where you're not focused on what you need to focus on. So I'm gonna say don't do it. I'm gonna be real simple about it. I'm not gonna, beat around the bush. I'm gonna say don't do it. I'm gonna say focus on, your future. I'm gonna say be a leader. A lot of times we find ourselves at this age doing things because we're following people. Be a leader, set your own standard. Think about the things that are important to you. Because in a lot of cases, if you ask these people who are using these drugs or doing this and that, if you ask them, is this really important to you? They'll say no. It's just something to do. I was bored, or my friends were doing it. Be a leader. I mean, we are supposed to be leaders. We are supposed to be setting examples for others to follow. We've got a lot of you guys probably have younger siblings. You set an example for them. So you don't want your little brother or your little sister following that footstep. You want them to follow you down the path to greatness, to success. So you want to set a higher standard for yourself, but also for those looking at you, because you never know who's looking at you. People are watching you, young people. And so you want to do that. And you also want to make your family proud too, right? Your mom, your dad, your grandparents, the people that really are invested in you. You want to make them proud too. That was one of the things that kept me focused when I kind of was possibly trying to venture off. I thought about my mom. I thought about my grandmother, and I always wanted to make them proud. And I knew that if I got into those types of things and, all sorts of trouble and things like that, that was gonna, make them look bad. And they put too much effort into trying to, make things good for me to disrespect them and disrespect, all those things that they put in place for me. So think about that. When you find yourself in a position where you might be influenced to do something like drugs or alcohol and things like that.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. We're being honest, right? Now, I'm keeping it real. Now, Mr. Williams, he explained, he grew up on the south side of Albany. I grew up on the south side of Albany as well, but I was fortunate to where I had a safe network. Even though I had a single parent mother with 2 younger sisters, I had my aunts, I had my uncles, I had my grandparents. So I was very fortunate to where they really looked out for me and they made sure that I had a wonderful life. And like I said, I'm going to be honest with you. And I was a straight A student, valedictorian of my class, graduated number 1, starting point guard for the basketball team. But guess what? I tried and I doubted. I did. But the thing is, hanging with the wrong people. Now, he started out hanging out with the wrong people. And he started hanging with my crew, and we was doing what we need to do. But at the time, you know, peer pressure is real. Peer pressure is real. And that's why I'm being honest with you, that I had it all together. I had my parents, I had my good friends, I made good grades, I was a started athlete, everything. Had my own car, had nothing to worry about. But still, peer pressure is real. And if you're hanging around the wrong people that are doing things that you know you should not do, it can impact you. It can influence you. I know I shouldn't have been doing what I was doing. And the thing is, I didn't even like it. I tried it, and like I said, people, they say they get the munchies, they get slow, and it makes you feel good and all of this. And I was doing it, and I'm like, what's the big deal? Like, what's really going on? And then I came to the realization, like, this is dumb. I'm being dumb. I have all this going for me. I have everything that a kid could possibly want. And just because I'm hanging with the wrong crowd, I'm making a dumb, stupid decision. And this is something that can impact you physically. It can impact you mentally. It can impact these up here, your brain cells. And guess what? With the plan that I had for myself and the plan that my family had for me, I was jeopardizing that plan by being stupid and hanging with the wrong people that I shouldn't have. Because I've always been on the straight and narrow for the most part.
Good afternoon, students.
And I ventured off.
Teachers, please bring your classes to attention for a few afternoon announcements.
I'm gonna get y'all a picture with them.
Teachers, please bring your classes to attention for a few afternoon announcements.